You're listening to the Magnetic Boss podcast, where badass entrepreneurs come together to share authentic conversations. We're ditching the cookie-cutter approach to building a business and valuing collaboration over competition. I'm your host, Calandra Martin, boy, mom, coffee-obsessed coach, speaker, and leader. I help women radiate their brilliance in the online space and create magnetic brands. We are here to have fun, do work we love, and enjoy the ride. Now let's dive in. Welcome back to the Magnetic Boss podcast. I am really looking forward to today's episode. It's going to be a fun one and lighthearted and also intentional and strategic, because I always want to give you little golden nuggets to take away from these episodes. And this one I think is going to be just one that you love and will return back to time and time again in your business to help you grow, to give you some direction, and also just to have a good reference point. Because when it comes to branding and marketing your business, there are a lot of things that you could do or feel you should do. And this is one of these things where not only is it good for your business, but it's also just really good for your mojo. It is something that gives you a boost of confidence, helps you feel empowered and confident in your brand. So today we are talking about getting a brand photo shoot done, preparing for a brand photo shoot, determining whether or not you need one, and all of the small details that go into making this decision and making it work for you. So before we dive in, I'm giving you a little disclaimer. There is going to be some background noise in today's episode. This audio recording may be imperfect, and that is simply because it is so nice out today, and I have all of the windows open, and the dog is outside, and she's barking at the wind. So I apologize for background noise, but I promise you that this is going to be worthy of listening to, regardless of my dog barking at the mailman. Okay, so first off, when it comes to getting a brand photo shoot done, there are a lot of pressure. There's a lot of pressure and assumption around whether or not this is something that you need in your business. And what I see a lot of entrepreneurs slipping into is feeling like they are not at the right level to have a brand photo shoot. They haven't, quote unquote, made it yet. And the truth is that having a photo shoot for your business, having professional photos done for your business, is really going to help you raise the bar and present yourself in a way that you feel good about and that your audience is really allowing that trust to be built. So I want this to be something that you are doing for you and for your business. Because ultimately, when you show up with this polished look, when you show up with these photos that are showcasing your brand, your personality, the things about your business that make you unique, you're really going to reach your audience at a different level than you would if you were just, let's just say, posting selfies constantly. So there is a time and place, in my opinion, for the camera iPhone photos, but there's also a time and place for showing up as a professional, as somebody who is really a leader and an innovator and rising to the occasion for your audience. So yes, you need a brand photo shoot. Do you need one right now? Not necessarily. Can you get by with taking photos on your iPhone? Absolutely. And there's so many ways that you can do this and do it in a way that makes you look like a professional. So just because you don't have the funds right now, or you don't have the time, or given the situation that we are in the world right now, maybe you are social distancing and you actually can't have a photo shoot, there are ways for you to do this yourself. So let's start here. If you're in the beginning stages or you're trying to get creative with this, all you need is your phone Now, smartphones these days have amazing cameras. If you have an iPhone, you're golden. You have portrait mode, you are in a good place. So you just really need your phone and something to put your phone on. So the key here is to make sure that you have stability. So whether that's with a tripod or a stack of books, I've actually in the past used a cardboard box out in my backyard, gotten really, really creative. You just need something to hold your phone stable. And then all you have to do is select the timer option and make sure that your shot is in good lighting and in the right placement so that the photo really looks good. Now, this takes some practice for sure, but if you're at that stage, or maybe you're just trying to fill in the gaps, I do this a lot in my own business where I do have brand photos, but I also want to have some real life behind the scenes photos. You can absolutely do this to give yourself a larger library of content. So this leads me to another point of why having a brand photo shoot is so important. Having a stockpile of visual content that matches your brand is going to make social media marketing so much easier for you. We talked about content marketing in the last episode, and when you have the pillars of content and you have clarity on what you're sharing, and you have a library of photos that you can easily pull from, it makes that process of showing up so much easier. So not only are you positioning yourself as a leader and a top dog in the industry, you are also building that sustainability for yourself so that you can continue to show up for your audience. So it is literally a win-win. And if you're having to use your iPhone, totally cool. Now, if you are looking at getting a brand photo shoot done, I want to cover some of my tips and hard-learned experiences so that you can avoid some of the mistakes that I've made and also just know where to start if you haven't hired a photographer before. So the first step before you go crazy and hire a photographer and spend a bunch of money is to have some preparation and planning in place. So I don't want you to just go out and get some photos done with no intentionality behind what those photos are going to be for, what they're going to represent, or where you're going to place them. So some of the things that you might think about first are, do you have a launch coming up? Is that launch specific to an area of your business that you want to represent? So maybe, for example, you are a busy mom and you're a coach for women who are also moms, and you have a launch coming up for a group program. Chances are that group program should represent busy mom life, which means your kids should be in the photo shoot, or maybe your messy house or your office desk with toys displayed all over it. So think about the setting, think about the context, and really take a look at the types of shots that you want to have your photos include. And I will say that having a variety of shots is really, really important. The first couple of photo shoots that I've done in the past were all portraits, just me standing and face to camera photo of me. But if you are looking to build out a content library, you want to have a variety of shots of different poses that you're doing, settings that you're in, environments that are surrounding you. So really start to think about this aspect before you even go out and hire a photographer. Now, of course, if you find a really great photographer, they will most likely give you some direction, give you some ideas. But you want to, just as you would with a hairdresser, go into the experience having an idea of what the outcome should be. So really get some clarity on this. Something that I love to do before any photo shoot that I have is to go on Pinterest and look up brand photo shoots. There's a lot of different ideas for poses. There are a lot of different ideas for outfits. These are all things that you want to be thinking about before you even book your appointment for your photo shoot. And then once you have clarity around your intentions for the photo shoot, you also want to get specific about the actual delivery of the content. So, for example, Something that I always recommend my clients to think about before they go and get a brand photo shoot done is to determine where the placement is going to be for those photos on their website. So, most frequently on your website, you will have the need for horizontal photos. So, this means that instead of the photo being vertical of you standing up, it is a horizontal shot. Now, if you have a brand photographer that specializes in brand photography, they hopefully will know this. But if you're hiring out somebody who maybe isn't specialized in branding or isn't familiar with web design, it will be really useful to tell them that you would like more horizontal shots than vertical, because that's going to allow you to stretch that photo to the dimension that you need to across banners on your website without it being pixelated or cutting your forehead off. So that is like, if I could tell you anything before you take some photos, keep that in mind. Think about the placement. How are you going to use these photos in your business? Is it going to be on your website, on social media? Really, really look into this and have a clear idea of how many shots you need and what they look like, what's included in the environment, the context, all of these pieces. And going hand in hand with this, you really want to be intentional about the outfits that you're wearing, the way that you are presenting yourself through your photos. Now, when we are talking about branding and aesthetics, it is so, so crucial for you to really keep in mind, again, how you're going to use these photos. So, for example, in my business, because my brand colors are black and purple and white, it's very easy for me to know that the most useful clothing for my photos, in context of the backgrounds that I'm going to be using, my Instagram grid, all of these pieces, is for me to wear black clothing, because then I can have that contrast on my social media graphics of purple and black text. And I usually will have a black background, or a white background rather. So really be thinking about how the colors of your outfits and the colors of the environment around you will tie into your overall brand aesthetics when you're using your photos. So I know that that's a lot to think about, but I really encourage you to create a document or even just jot it down in a notebook and get some clarity around what you want your brand photo shoot to do for you and how you want it to represent your business. The more clarity you have around this, the easier it will be for you to communicate with your photographer and actually have brand photos that you love versus feeling like you walked into the hair salon and got a botched haircut. And I know that that is the worst feeling in the world. So really just be intentional before you get into the process of booking your photo shoot. Once you have all of that intentionality laid out in front of you, then you can start to look for a photographer that you love. Now, at this point, if you've had a brand photo shoot before, you most likely have a photographer that you've worked with before. And just as you would with a tattoo artist, you'll most likely continue to go back to them and use them again. And I know that I do this with my hairstylist, I do this with my tattoo artist, I also do this with my nail salon appointments. I always like to go back to the same people. Same thing is true for a photographer. And what that means is that if you are looking for a photographer for the first time, you want to make sure that this is going to be a lasting relationship that you are excited about continuing. It's really important for you to be working with a photographer that gives you the experience that you're looking for. You want your energy to translate through your photos. And if you're working with a photographer that isn't helping you infuse your personality or helping you loosen up so that you can take really authentic photos, then your message isn't going to get across to your audience the way that you want it to. So the key here is to find a photographer that you love. And this might take a little bit of trial and error. I know that I have personally worked with some photographers in the past where it was an okay experience. The photos came out really great, but you could tell the difference in my energy from one photo shoot to another, depending on the photographer that I was using. So keep that in mind. And make sure that you are working with a photographer that is skilled in their craft. if you're going to be investing money into something like this for your business, you really want to make sure that it is going to benefit your business to the greatest capacity that it can. As with any other business investment, your brand photos are going to be something that will last you a really long time and will really help you drive your business forward. So make sure that this is an investment that is worthy of your time and energy and money. And this can feel like a lot of pressure, right? This feels like, okay, where am I going to find this unicorn photographer that I want to work with, that I'm so excited to book with every single time I need a photo shoot? So, my tip for you here to remove some of this pressure is to ask for referrals. There are so many stones left uncovered right in your local community. I promise you. I actually just stumbled across the most brilliant tattoo artist the other day, thanks to a Google search. And I would have never known that she existed otherwise. So I want you to get really committed to finding the right photographer and not settling for anybody or the first person that pops up on your search. Ask for referrals, look at their previous work, and ask yourself if that is going to be an aligned photographer for what your ultimate goals are for your photo shoot. Because I promise you that once you find the person, you find the person. And you just keep going back, and the process of your photo shoot gets easier and easier. And it's really something that you can build off of in the long term. So, step one, be strategic before booking your photo shoot. Get really clear on what you need, what you're looking for. Then find a photographer that you absolutely love. And my last tip for you today is to prepare for your photo shoot so that you can show up as a total badass and in your best energy. So this is so, so important. And it's something that I think we might overlook because it's just like any other appointment, right? We think about this and we expect to go in and get it done and be done with it and check something off of the box, the to-do list. But when you allow yourself to look at your brand photo shoot as this really incredible addition to your business, as something that is going to nurture your business and help you cultivate better relationships and better visibility, and really give yourself that authority in the online space because you're sharing really incredible photos that captivate people, showing up in your best energy is going to give you the most reward when it comes to your photos. So, what I highly encourage you to do is to really practice some self-care and nurture yourself before your photo shoot. And this could look like a lot of different things, but I'll share with you what really works for me, because we all need to be able to fill our cup up first so that we can share with the world and serve the world. And the same thing goes for your photo shoot. When people are coming across your photos, this sounds a little woo-woo, they can feel your energy. So to prepare for your photo shoot, some of the things that I love to do is to really allow myself to spoil myself before my photo shoot. So this might look like going and getting my nails done, or dyeing my hair, buying a new thing of makeup so that my eyebrows actually look filled in, splurging on new outfits. These are all very superficial forms of self-care, but they do help me feel more confident in my photos so that I can show up with that fierce, confident energy. Some of the other things that I like to make sure I'm doing before my photo shoot is to get a good night's rest beforehand, to drink a lot of water the week leading up to my photo shoot so that my skin is really, really clear, and to also think about the timing of the photo shoot based on when I have the most energy during the day. So what I find for myself is that having a photo shoot in the late afternoon is actually a cumbersome experience where I don't have a lot of energy. I need that extra cup of coffee to really show up as me. Whereas in the morning, I am the Energizer Bunny. So if I can book a photo shoot in the morning before 10 a.m., Thankfully, I have an amazing photographer that is all for that. I get to show up and feel really good, get myself ready for the day, get my photo shoot done, and then I can tell you that the rest of my day is freaking awesome. So, really be aware of what works for you. Really be aware of how you're showing up. And it might take a couple of photo shoots to really get a groove to find what works best for you. But as with everything, where your intention goes, your energy is going to flow. So this will become an easier process. Booking a photo shoot will feel fun for you the more that you allow yourself to get creative, to nurture yourself and see this as a form of self-care. I know that I personally love my brand photos so much, especially the ones with my son in them. I make a point to include him in a lot of my brand photos because he's such an important piece of my life. I have future plans to get a photo shoot with my dogs too. But I love these photos so much that I put them everywhere. I hang them up in our house. I print them as Christmas gifts and put them in frames. So allow this to be something that not only helps your business and supports your business, but is something that you can keep forever for you, that is really going to be a lasting impact. And taking the extra time to be intentional about preparing for your photo shoot and getting yourself ready is really going to help this overall experience. So that was a quick and dirty overview of how to prepare for your brand photo shoot. I do have a couple of other tips here that I want to plug in, but I would love to know if you have had a photo shoot before. Tag me on Instagram with your brand photo on your IG stories. I want to see them. And let me know what your favorite part about having a photo shoot done is. And if you haven't had a photo shoot before and you are loving this episode, please send me a DM on Instagram at calandra.martin and tell me what questions you have if I didn't cover your question here yet. Okay, so a couple of other tips and tricks. We talked about shot variety, but I want to also plug in here that you can have so much fun and creativity and play when it comes to adding props and staging your photos. So what I mean by this is when you are taking your brand photos, what is going to be in those photos? Obviously, it's going to be you. If you're building a personal brand, it's going to be you front and center. It might also look like plugging in some photos of products that you sell or represent if you're in a network marketing company. But there are also other pieces to you and to your business that are important to highlight. So, for example, some of the props that I use in my business and my photo shoots are my laptop, my coffee mugs, because those are something near and dear to me. I'm a collector of coffee mugs. I have way, way too many. And I'm a lover of coffee. So I always have coffee in some of my photos. I make sure that I am wearing my favorite pieces of jewelry. Sometimes I will include oracle cards or essential oils or crystals because these are all pieces of me. They are pieces of my life. And when you infuse these small, fine touches, you build a relationship with your audience. So start to think about the props that you can use and have fun with this. One time I actually used silly string in one of my brand photo shoots because I thought that it would be really fun. Turns out the color was not what we were going for. I didn't really use them other than just framing up cute pictures of my kid around the house. But start to think about some of the things that you could include. It could be balloons. It could be glitter. You could have confetti that you're throwing in the air. Maybe you have a really fun backdrop. There's so many opportunities. So really get creative with this. Have fun with this and allow your brand photo shoot to transform you into the mood that you want your business to represent. So on this podcast, I talk a lot about your brand identity and how that includes your visuals and your energy. And when it comes to your energy, this means the feelings that your business represents and creates for other people. So think about how this can allow you to share with your audience how you will make them feel. Are you going to help them feel unstoppable? Are you going to give them more joy and freedom? Are you going to give them their time back? And what does that look like? All of these feelings that you create for your audience, you can really represent in these photos. And that is so, so powerful in painting the picture of possibility when somebody works for you or with you. So have fun with this. I hope that these tips are helpful for you. If you are local, if you're in Maine, I would love to give you some recommendations for amazing photographers here up in New England. And if you are looking for a photographer, get yourself in the Magnetic Boss Collective. We have hundreds of entrepreneurs in that group, and I can guarantee you that somebody has a connection with somebody or a recommendation of where to look. So get yourself out there, find a photographer that you love, take some photos of yourself on your phone, and make sure that the way that you're representing your business through your visuals is really moving that needle forward and creating opportunity for you every single day. All right. I hope this was helpful. If it was, please share this episode, leave a rating and review on iTunes. It is so helpful when you share your feedback with me. And I will talk to you on the next episode.